Hello. Welcome to this new video. So this time we are going to talk about how to prepare for the CEH version 13 exam. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I've created a series of videos to help you get ready for the CEH exam. And now it's time to take it. So I know that many of you have taken certification exams in the past and probably you know exactly what to do. If that's the case, probably this video is not going to help you much. This video is designed for those who are new into taking cybersecurity exams or technical exams to pass as certifications. Many of these things are common sense, but perhaps if you're new, you are nervous about the exam. You don't know what to do. You are doubting yourself whether you have what it takes to pass it or not. Well, I'm going to try to help you with that. So I prepare this list of items for you to keep in mind. The first one is this: you have to know what you are getting yourself into. The exam is 125 questions, multiple choice questions. The first exam that you take is multiple choice. You have 4 hours to complete the exam. You want to complete it in less than 4 hours. And there's no official passing score, but it is believed to be between 60 and 85%. Obviously, if you get more than 85, you pass the exam. If you get 60, you may fail it. So you want to aim for the best score possible for you that you can. So know that the exam is expensive. Depending on where you are, you may pay a pretty penny for the exam. You usually get a much better deal when you take one of the official Easy Council trainings, and then they include the exam voucher for you. And if you are in North America, usually around Thanksgiving Day, end of the year, Easy Console puts a lot of promotions out there where you can purchase the exam and a 6 months training or 3 month training kind of thing, self training. I'm saying to help you with that, and that's going to offset the price of the exam. So that's something to keep in mind because by taking this exam, you're making a huge monetary investment, no matter if you are in North America or if you are in another part of the world where things, you know, tend to cost more. So when you're taking the exam, remember there are 20 modules. And this is something that I have to say one more time. You don't have to be an expert on all 20 modules. You have to have a good understanding of what you're doing, but do not fall for paralysis of analysis. Don't expect to score 100% on all your practice questions for you to feel ready for the exam because you may be able to score 100% on one test, on one practice questions, but then you take another practice questions and then you're not going to score 100%. So stick to the core, stick to the basics, which is understand the tools, understand the concepts, and then you're going to be able to figure things one out, right? Prioritize things like footprinting, recon, scanning, know your Nmap, your Wiresharks, know those things, know how to enumerate web applications, know the differences between DDoS and DOS, know the different type of malware threats and classifications. And as I have mentioned in many of my videos, you do have to memorize useless terms, but at least do it for this exam so that you can pass it. By memorizing useless terms does not mean that you're going to cram everything and memorize everything because you're not going to be able to pass the exam that way. But there are many things that for you are going to be difficult to understand that maybe for me are easy. And there are things that for me were difficult to understand that maybe for you are going to be easy to understand. So don't compare to anyone else. do what you need to do and reinforce those areas where you have to do better. When I took this exam back in the days, and I've taken this exam a couple of times, one of the difficult subjects for me back then was web application scanning, right? Luckily, in this exam, they don't go deep into web application scanning. So I had to memorize, cross-site scripting. I have to memorize the concept of how all this vulnerability work for me to do good on the exam. But then you keep growing in your career, you keep growing in your experience, and that memorization that I did for the exam turned into actual work experience because then I had to do a lot of those things. So again, don't feel overwhelmed by the width of the material. Just know the basics, know the concepts, and you're gonna do fine. Um, do as many practice tests as possible and don't expect to get 100% in all of them. Yes, you do want to get a good score and you want to repeat the questions and understand the questions, but get yourself familiar with different styles of practice questions. I have put available or I have made available 100 questions that I went through that I put together to help you out with that. By no means that is the only resource or practice test that you should use. Go online, do searches, and take as many free practice tests as possible. And if you can purchase them, then go for that and buy them. Why not? But do as many as you can. Again, don't try to memorize answers because in a test like this, it's gonna be practically impossible to memorize all the answers unless you're a freak of nature and you can do that. But even if you do, you may not get those questions in the exam. Hands-on practice lab. This is where you are going to absorb all that information that you are learning. This first exam, the CEH exam, is a written exam. And again, by written, I'm not saying that you're going to have pen and paper, but it's going to be multiple choice questions. There's no hands on it. And the only way for you to really get good understanding and a good solid foundation of all these tools is by doing labs, by practicing. It doesn't mean that you have to purchase the easy console practice range. That's what they call it. It would be nice if you can, but you don't have to spend your money there. You can spin up a couple of virtual machines and then do your testing there. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to do any install anything special to run Nmap or Wireshark. You only have to install the applications, right? And then do it on your computer, like run Nmap against anything that you can think of. That's not going to cause any problem. I'm usually advising people not to do any pen testing against sites and servers they don't own, but Nmap is not pen testing. It's just like reconnaissance, seeing public information out there. But do it as many times as you can, as much as you can, to reinforce and solidify that theoretical knowledge that you have absorbed during your study. What else do we have here? Practice scanning, enumeration, and exploitations. Yes, do that. This is something that I see many people getting into trouble. They don't time the exam and they run out of time, and that is because during their practice sessions they don't try to complete all 125 questions under 4 hours. So make sure that during your practice sessions you get comfortable finishing the exam way under 4 hours because during the exam they're not going to have flexibility. If you run out of time, you run out of time. Simple as that. Understand the tools, not just the name, of course. Understand the tools, especially those tools that you are not familiar with. And by understanding, again, I'm not saying become an expert. I'm saying understand what a tool does, right? And especially those areas where um, you feel a little bit weak in those areas. Uh, Understand again, like I reinforce Nmap and Wireshark and all these tools because they're going to be asking a lot of questions about that. Understand your ports. If you're new into networking or cybersecurity, understand what a port is, what a port does, the port numbers. Understand that because you're going to get a lot of questions on that. Uh, don't ignore theory, encryption algorithms. Again, remember that I said to you before that sometimes you have to memorize useless terms. You have to memorize the that when it comes to algorithms. Yeah, you have to RSA. You have to memorize all the script, all those things about the algorithms, the encryption keys. The 512, 2048, blah blah blah. You have to memorize that. So just do that on the day of the exam. Please take a lot of rest. Avoid cramming questions and answers up until 2 a.m. That's not going to help you. Actually, that's going to stress you out even more. When I say arrive early, this is if you take the exam on site. I haven't taken an exam in a testing center in a lot of years. Everything is computerized now. So you can take it online. Make sure you clean your environment before you do that because they're going to ask you to rotate your camera to make sure you don't have any answers to the questions there. This is a good one that I use a lot, this next topic right here. And this is flag questions. You're going to have the option of marking the questions to be reviewed later. Don't spend too much time on the questions if you're having trouble, right? Remember that if you have 125 questions and you have 245 minutes, that's about 2 minutes per questions. If there's something you don't know, mark it and then you'll review it later. Sometimes when you do that, you'll find the answer or you're going to find a clue to that answer as you read other questions that are going to come up later. So don't get too caught up into something you don't know. Just go for the low hanging fruits the first time around. You are sitting for the exam. And then if there's something you're not 100% sure, just mark it and then move to the next one. Mark it, move to the next one. And then if you know the questions, answer. But don't get caught up into looking at questions, hoping that an answer is going to pop up, miraculously, because that may not be the case. Be wise with your time. Don't overthink. And this is a good one. And this is something that I've mentioned many times before. Sometimes you are going to disagree with the answers to a questions. I do all the time. When I take exams and I prepare for the exams, I see questions that they have multiple choice answers, and I know that practically the best answer is an answer they don't say is the correct answer. It's okay, right? Don't get caught up into it. Just do your best. Do what makes sense based on your experience and your studies, and you're gonna be okay. Even if you disagree with some of these questions, select the best possible answer for you. And before you submit the exam, you're going to have the option to review all the questions one more time. And this is where you can go through the marked questions and review them and change the answer if you want. I usually when I mark a questions that I'm not sure about the answer, I select the answer. I select one answer, the best possible answer that I think it is, even when I am not 100% sure. And sometimes I end up changing the answer, and sometimes I don't. It's that simple. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're about to take the test, good luck to you. This, like this is applicable to any certification test that you want to take. But again, if you're going for the CEH, I'm happy for you. I would say this is the beginning for you. A certification like CEH is a great exam. Once you pass this, please go for the master exam. That is going to be handsome. You're going to have fun in that because you're going to get to practice and do things on the systems, and then decide which way you want to go. If this is going to be the end for you, perhaps you need CEH to meet some requirements for your job. That's totally fine. But I know that many of you Once you get a CEH, you're going to pivot and move into other certifications, which is totally fine. I created a video of which security certifications are good. I would advise you to look into it because there's a lot of wisdom. Don't just chase certification thinking that they're going to land a job for you. That may not be the case. Just check and look and take certifications, exams that are going to validate your work experience. They're going to have more weight than just taking random certifications. So thanks for watching. If you found this information useful, all I ask you to do is to click on the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you know of anyone who can benefit from this information, please feel free to share. Always check the channel for new content. If you want to learn about the CEH exam modules, go through them. And good luck. Let me know when you pass the exam. Thank you. Talk to you later.